Good evening, everyone. We're back with the fan reaction show after a mediocre result against Sheffield United. Obviously, it was good to win, but the first half wasn't too great. Maximin had a good game, but fans back in the ground, that's all that matters, really. More atmosphere, none of this fake crowd noise that Brandon actually likes from what he said in the watch along. But no, in all seriousness, how do you find the game, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Happy with the result, but first 30 minutes were pretty boring. Second half was meh. But yeah, happy with the goal. We looked good the last 15 minutes after in the first half, last 15 minutes, and I actually expected more, to be fair.
Yeah.
Much more, but it's quite a bland performance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think for a large proportion of the first half, it was definitely quite a flat performance. But yeah, I don't expect the fan reaction is going to be as busy as what it usually is, with fans back in the ground, and also our fans across the pond will probably be at work, that sort of thing as well. But we are going to get our first guest in, which is going to be Steve, because I know he's got to get to work pretty shortly. I'll just bring him in.
There you go.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you, mate?
Doing pretty good. What about you?
Yeah, good, mate. I'm happy with the win.
Me too.
So, yeah, man of the match for you for that performance, mate.
It's hard to not go with ASM, to be honest, but it's also, you could also go with Joe Willock, and like I've said before, goals. It's the hardest thing to do in football, putting the ball in the back of the net. You pay the most money for people who do that, and you know, that's how you win a game, and that's how you climb up wherever you are trying to achieve. So I would probably say Willock, but ASM honorable mention. It was an all right team performance today. It was all right, lackluster at times, but.
Steve, what do you make from the standing ovation for an Arsenal player?
I mean, it would kind of throw me off if he didn't, because while he is an Arsenal player, that's fair. He's benefited this club at the time that he's been here. If you think about it, he isn't scoring goals for Arsenal, and we're giving him a salute. It's because we're saluting him. Because of what he's done at Newcastle, for the goals, the important goals, and the performances he's put in. I actually think that kind of deserves a little bit more admiration, because it's like, because honestly, his heart is probably in Arsenal. Like, his heart is probably like, I want to make the Arsenal squad. So it's kind of different when you go to a different team and you're like, I'm a professional and all that, but I don't know. He hasn't really put a foot wrong. Honestly, he's been for right now, for what he's done for Newcastle, we wouldn't be in the position we'd be in without him.
How much would you be willing to pay for him if you would have a go for him?
I want a full year loan, and then I would probably give my opinion, because I remember this happening a few years ago with Kennedy.
Yeah,
he was lights out for a point in time, and then I think nowadays he's playing in Spain with Granada, and he's actually doing really well. But that just shows you he isn't involved in the team anymore. So
I would definitely take a loan deal again as well. What about yourself, Karl?
I want what for Willock?
Yeah.
No, I've got to go out and try and buy him, mate. 100%. I'm just
not with what Steve says. Like, first one more loan deal, like that you don't come in the same situation, but we had with Kennedy.
I understand where Steve's coming from. 100%.
Yeah.
100% understand that. I think it's just, do we take that risk and he has another unbelievable season, and then we end up having to pay more? If it was a case of maybe getting something in writing in the loan agreement to say that there was a buyout, we got first refusal on like 25 million or something like that, then yeah, 100%, I'll be up for that.
if I had to put a price, like if I had to either pull the trigger or you don't ever get the chance to see him, I would say don't go over 40. Do not go over 40.
Yeah, it's crazy that we talk about numbers like that. Like, it's crazy, man. Not just him, just in general, isn't it? It's like we can't go over 40 million for a midfielder. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's
put
crazy.
that in perspective. We paid 40 million for Joe Linton, though. Like we did. He looked decent.
Exactly.
He did look decent in the Bundesliga, but like if you know by now, you would never pay for that for him now. Like I think the transfer market is a bit blown up. To be fair, I hope the coronavirus pandemic.
I was about to say COVID
pushing it down a little bit, but.
Yeah, it's definitely inflated. Definitely inflated. Is there anyone from the Sheffield United side that you looked at tonight, Stephen? You thought, with them going down, I wouldn't mind signing them for Newcastle.
I've always been adamant, like Basham. I like Basham a lot. Egan, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he could take a step up, maybe to like a Leicester. To be honest, if he went to a Leicester, do you think he would that really surprise you to see him not only make that transfer but then succeed? I just, he's a good player in a really, really struggling side that had tons of injuries and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, I would go for someone like Egan. Egan or Basham. Everyone else is kind of so-so. But yeah, I would Egan and Basham.
I would definitely swap Egan for Kraft and pay them 10 million extra.
15. I would. There's no, Kraft. Well, no. To be fair, I mean Kraft. He did score a goal, so we gotta give him props there. But it's about the consistency.
Give him props for what scoring one goal.
It's a business.
Come on, give him props for one goal. Okay, it was a good goal and we needed it, but it was a header from a corner kick, and anyone could have made it. But
Kraft doesn't cut the mustard.
No, definitely not.
It would be a good stand-in, like if we got some injuries, but not. I wouldn't say good, but decent. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be sad seeing him leaving the club. Really.
Yeah, me either. But yes.
How good was it for you, Steve, that the fans are back in the stadium? As you've been able to watch with sound?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I bought another speaker for my TV, and so I got to just blast it and just suck in the atmosphere. I was listening to you guys too, but I was able to just for 2 hours just enjoy just having that back, because I mean it's said all the time nowadays, but there's a reason why. Football without fans is nothing. It really isn't.
Definitely not.
I missed out on a few Old Firm games this year because there were no fans in, and I was just I love watching those games and stuff, but it's not the same without fans. It really isn't. So
Steve,
I'm glad.
Just a quick question for you, because I want to know your opinion on this. What is your take on the whole Jamal Lewis situation? What would you do with him after this season? Would you sell him? Would you keep him? Would you give him a loan somewhere else?
Yeah, I would look for a loan. Worst case scenario, worst case scenario at the start of the year, you loan him out. Loan him out to a Bundesliga side or something, because seriously, I'm very high on the Bundesliga. They develop youngsters. Obviously, you got Sancho and Bellingham and Pulisic. They have this league is a track record, and you'll see a bunch of in the transfer window this year. You'll see a bunch of guys from the Bundesliga step into other leagues and kill it, like Wamangituka from Stuttgart. I think he's going to be a player next year to have your eyes on. Very, very good player.
I'm gonna have to start. You're gonna have to send me a list, or I'm gonna have to start making notes, mate. Because you just throwing names at me. I don't even know who these people are. Your football knowledge is far superior to mine.
Don't underestimate yourself, man. Don't underestimate yourself.
It's just the walking Wikipedia of Newcastle.
It's like he's the encyclopedia of world football, or European football.
He could be the head scout of Newcastle, actually.
Maybe.
Let take this guy away from America. Let him travel Europe or South America and get us good fucking talent. Oh
I'll
wait,
take it, man. That'd be awesome.
I know you will.
Right, we're gonna get another person in next because I know you're off to
thank
work,
you for
aren't you,
having
Steve?
me on. I appreciate it.
No, I
You guys,
appreciate
mate.
everything
Take
that you've
care,
done,
guys.
mate. Take it easy, buddy.
Have a good day at work, Steve.
Right, that is Steve. We're gonna bring in Proudlock and Andrew. I'm just gonna jump out for literally a minute, Brandon. Okay, I'll be straight back in.
No worries.
Boys,
How you guys doing? Yes,
All
there we
right.
are. With the 3 months.
how far?
How you guys
You all
doing?
right?
Yeah,
I'm alright.
Good
What
lad.
about yourself?
Good.
Yeah,
How's
did you
Pablo?
make Andrew? Did you not so enjoy it as much as I did? Did you expect more? To you, Andrew.
Is that to me?
Yeah.
Definitely. I think the first half. I think I was going to watch a bit of Proudlock's video before, and I'm sure it's something to do with Shelvey being on his own in midfield in the first half. It was diabolical the first half. Every time we got the ball out the back four, we had one man in midfield. So I think it was a sign of things to come. There was Hollywood passes all over the place that weren't coming off. But luckily we've got to win. So I'll let you go to Proudy.
Peter?
Yeah, I mean, the lot of that game, it was a bit of a ball fest at times, I must say. I thought towards the end we started to really tire out. You could tell we started to really run out of gas, and we did let Sheffield United come out with the only thing they just didn't do was put the ball in the back of the net. They could have on a couple of occasions. I mean, McGoldrick, I think, had 2 great opportunities, but I think that's just been Sheffield United's downfall all season, just the lack of goals. But we took the advantage of that tonight, so it's great to see the fans back, and you could tell the atmosphere, only with 10,000, was absolutely brilliant. You could hear them, and that's what it's all about
Maybe
at this football club.
Maybe you guys don't agree with me, but like I think the players look a little bit like at the end of the season, like picking up injuries here and there. Like
I mean, yeah.
they look finished basically. Is that a good case for starting youngsters versus Fulham?
Why not give them a run out? Massively, I think ASM. I think that's him done now for the rest of the season. I was very worried with Dubravka. I mean, having the hamstring taped up as well. I mean, and that is a risk. That's a massive risk. Hopefully, Willock's okay. Joe Linton, to be honest, I'm not much fussed about, but yeah, but
I
you
just
just
wondered-
wondered. But that's been another thing of our problem. All these injuries we've picked up all season as well.
But don't get me wrong though. Like I wanted to do Joelinton do good and end his season well actually for us, because it's probably a nice bloke, and you see he's really working his socks off. But it's just not it. But I hoped after that penalty he had, he could have a good game versus Sheffield, versus Fulham, get his confidence up. Do you feel the same way, Andrew?
Totally. I think today we're half expecting him to get a couple of goals. I was. We thought we were going to dominate the game. I think one thing you've got to worry about is so many injuries today. I mean, this might be just me, but if Dubravka's really got an injury, is he really going to risk staying on if he's going to miss the Euros? Come on. If you're Dubravka and you've got a twinge in your hamstring, are you gonna genuinely stay on for the sake of 8 minutes when you've got another sub?
When there's nothing to play for anymore.
I think it's clock timing. There was a lot of it going on tonight.
You're right. I really hope you're right, because I know how much Martin Dubravka want to make the Euros, and if Bruce, I hope you're right, mate. Really.
I'd like to think that's what it was. I'd like to think. I'd hate to see Martin Dubravka miss Euros because he stayed on for a few minutes, but I seriously don't think that he was in any risk of serious injury tonight, staying on.
Just a situation that happened in first half with Jonjo getting his tooth knocked out. Was it intentionally though? Because it kind of, I don't know. It was an odd situation. Yeah.
It's a hard one to tell, isn't it?
If he's meant it, it's a good one.
There you go.
If he's meant it, it's a good shot.
Yeah, I mean, like, it kind of looked intentionally, you know, but maybe that's just me. But
he swung his arm in an area where he knew Shelvey's face was going to be nearer there or thereabouts.
I'm actually surprised someone shares the same sort of opinion with me about that, because everyone said.
Well done to Shelvey for getting up, though, to be fair to him. I mean, I don't know if any of you have had a tooth knocked out, but I've had a bit of a tooth knocked out before from a bottle, and it friggin' hurts.
From a bottle? How did you do that?
That's fake, and it friggin' hurts.
Did you try to open a beer bottle with your teeth?
No, I was standing next to someone at the match, and they had a bottle like that, and they went, way, and it went dunk, like that on my tooth. So, it chipped me 2 front teeth, so I've got a fake bit on my front 2 teeth. So, but that hurt, and I was well served at that time, and it still hurt.
Kind of wraps up our feeling for Newcastle. Like, it's never easy to support Newcastle. You never know what you're coming home with, you know. I heard on the group chat of Newcastle Fans TV that there were some boos towards Steve Bruce, but not really Bruce out chance. Would you guys supported that, and are you guys disappointed that it wasn't really any chance towards Bruce?
Well, yeah, it's been needed. I mean, this manager's been getting away with it all season because the only way we've been able to vent our frustration is through social media or YouTube itself, because the man is not good enough to manage this football club. The stats prove it. He's got one of the worst in the Premier League. We need to change a manager for next season massively. We really, really need to.
Andrew?
I agree, but my argument is who you're going to bring in, and until you can find the right man to bring in, then especially when there's a takeover hanging over, do you want to bring someone in short term and then want to go for a top manager if the takeover actually happens? I think that just sends the wrong message. I think we've got to give credit to Steve Bruce for the last 8 weeks, as much as I'm biting my teeth when I say that, but we have got to, and I think if a lot of fans looked at the run that we had, bearing in mind we've got a draw against Liverpool, we've given Man City a good game, we've beaten Leicester. No one would have thought we were going to do that 6 weeks ago. You know, hats off to the guy. It's not him that's won them, the players have won the games, but he's the one that's setting them up before there.
So like you said, Andrew, with just that small period stretching over for Bruce being charged or not, maybe for next season, like, do you think Steve Bruce can maybe against Fulham change his formation and like try some ideas out for next season, like for example play for 4-2-3-1 or 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-2-1, sorry. Like,
I definitely think we'll see some changes.
More attacking formation. Do you think that he should go with that, or?
But he's going to be thinking of an extra £5 million for the extra Premier League place, isn't he, at the same time? So he's going to be putting a good side out, but I think he will tinker a little bit. I thought he would a little bit more today. I'd like to see Matty get a game, and I'd like to see Elliott get a game. It's a shame Keelan Watts is getting an injury, so I would have liked to have seen him be recalled and getting a game. But I think there was, I'm not sure who it was before, we were talking about Fernandez earlier. It might have been the show earlier. I think he's gone. It's a shame, but I think he was probably our best defender tonight. But I think Lejeune will come back in the summer, and we'll bring another centre half in.
Are you guys happy if Dummett extends his contract?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I would. I think he's done very well since come back to the side, and he's a solid defender. We've got. Yeah, I wouldn't mind giving him that extra contract extension.
I don't with that as well. Like, he's like people even call him Mr. Solid. Always scores a 6, maybe sometimes 7, but it's what you want as a defender. But I think he needs some coaching. Like he needs someone, how you say that, focal next to him.
Yeah.
Coach him around.
Going to keep him right. But he's better. He's been better since Richie's been telling him where to stand, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Since Richie came in the squad, we have been improved. I wouldn't say massively, but much more. I actually give credit. I think if it really that's the case, give Steve Bruce credit that he maybe sorted his problems out with Richie. You know.
Oh yeah. What was that, Brandon? You're giving Steve Bruce a bit of credit there. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Because I said like 4 or 5 weeks ago, like when it looked kind of shit for us, like I said, like, look, Bruce has also with the Longstaff brothers. Bruce has to show his balls if he really is the man like he is. Show your balls. Have a conversation. Have a conversation with the problems you had to bust up with or whatever, and say like, okay, lads, I like the club. You guys want a good career and maybe move on from here or whatever. You want to do it for the fans or whatever. Let's crack on. Let's put our problems aside and then let's crack on. And it looks like that's the case, sort of.
He's won the squad round. I mean, he's lost a big player on the squad and he's won it round a little bit. I think that was his biggest test as the manager of Newcastle Football Club, I think. And I think since then he's the line has gone up slightly. Whether he's going to still be in charge in the summer, I hope he's not. But I'm not one of them where I hate him. I don't hate him. I just don't think he's right for the club. But I'm not gonna kick him when he's down. And I said ages ago I thought he should have left. But
I totally agree. I want to make that very clear. I never hated the bloke because he's probably good for a good few pints, you know, and a kebab and a bacon, whatever. But I think my last question for you guys is like, who was you guys players of the player of the match? Sorry,
Man of the match today.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Willock. I mean, the way he was in the right place at the right time for that header was superb. And the rest of the game, the way he managed to take on a lot of the Sheffield United players was superb as well. ESM wasn't too far off, but I'm going to give it to Joe Willock because of the goal as well.
Those runs he made, that's mental. When he passed through 6 players, whatever, he was on fire again today. But I agree with you. You can give it to Joe Willock. Andrew?
A bit controversial. I'm going to say Jacob Murphy for his 2 crosses because Joe Linton should have scored. The cross for Willock's goal was Jacob Murphy, and Joe Linton should have any striker. It made it look like a bad ball. Joe Linton's header there, and I've bigged him up, so I'm biting my finger at the time. But I'm going to go Jacob Murphy. I thought any of the trouble that we had came the other side, not Jacob Murphy's side. He was good going forward and he was good coming back.
What an improvement he had, actually, Jacob Murphy, this season. After Bruce in that right back row, you can only put your hats off to Jacob Murphy, really, for adjusting and really. I'm actually impressed by Jacob Murphy.
Same here.
Big improvement.
Yeah, for sure. Lads, thank you so much. Always being on the fan reaction. I think we're gonna have to move on. I think
that's great.
Getting bored.
Hey, Pauli.
Now.
See you later.
Hey, Brandon.
Get on it. See ya. There he is. Carl, are you on mute or?
Sorry, mate. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine.
Cool.
There he is already, the legend James. James, let me get a beer real quick, Carl.
Yeah. James, how are we?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just came in actually.
How was the atmosphere, mate?
I'm happy to be back in that stadium. That's the only thing. And I'm happy we got to
Was the
What?
how was the atmosphere, James?
James, we have some problem with your internet, I think.
Can't hear a word you're saying, mate.
James, you're not coming through. Sorry. You're very laggy as well. Okay, try. Should we otherwise try someone else to come
Yeah.
in? Maybe he tries to get out and come back in. And
Yeah, that's fine. I'll bring James in.
Hello, boys. You alright?
Yeah, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Not bad at all. How are you?
How'd you find the game, James?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, was it? Like, I was expecting a bit more from us, but
Yeah.
I think overall, the table doesn't lie. I think Sheffield being in 20th and us being in 15th at the moment, you saw the quality of the game. I was expecting a little bit of back and forth. I wasn't expecting it to be an easy game by any means, because we struggle with those games at the bottom of the table historically, don't we? Everyone around us we struggle with, and then go and beat someone like Chelsea or Spurs, don't we? So I wasn't expecting it to be easy by any means, but just happy that we got the result in the end.
Definitely. How did you find it? Because I don't think Brandon was able to kind of have the volume on too high in comparison to what we've been watching for the last 18 months or 15 months. How did it feel watching it with a real crowd back in the ground, albeit 10,000?
A bit emotional at times, wasn't it, to be honest, to see everyone. I think when Willock scored and you saw all the fans going mental in the stadium, it's like
standing ovation.
It's the light at the end of the tunnel, really, isn't it? For the year, and it's just been a long year probably for everyone. So, it's just nice to have a bit of that back.
Even though it was kind of a nothing game per se, mate, did it still give you that bit of excitement as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely over the last few weeks, I felt the most hopeful in a long time to be a Newcastle fan, and definitely probably for the first time under Bruce, I'd say, because up until this point, he hasn't really shown us anything to scream and shout about, has he? So,
no.
It's not. I know he likes to play the victim, doesn't he? But he hasn't given us anything to scream and shout about. So when he's got ASM firing on all cylinders, and when he's got Joe Willock scoring 6 in 6, and really galvanising that midfield, then we've got something to sort of talk about for everyone. That's what every fan wants. And think as well that if you're not competing for titles and if you're not competing for cups like we are, you want to look hopeful to the future, and that's all that you can hold on for, really, if you're a fan at the bottom of the table. So having those sort of young prospects coming through, having players I know he didn't get a game today, but Matty Longstaff and those players are so pivotal for us to keep at the club and to try and further Newcastle United up the table.
So everyone will come out with quite an immediate response, but I'm trying to find someone who might be of a different opinion. Would you, I don't know how I'm going to word this really, but would you give Steve Bruce a little bit more time after what you've seen?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
And if you'd have asked me, I honestly can't believe I'm telling you this, but
okay,
I just think that I don't think he's definitely not stumbled. He's definitely stumbled onto it. It's definitely nothing to do with his reign per se. But what Andrew was saying earlier, that if we haven't got another man to bring in, then it's almost pointless, because the players do like Steve Bruce. It's very clear that when they talk about him, I think it's clear. I think that ASM always talks about how he loves Steve Bruce, and I think other players like Shelvey always talk is always talking highly of him, and I don't think that Lascelles is always talking highly of him, and I think that maybe not everyone comes out and says it, but I think there's enough in that dressing room that's telling us he's a nice bloke, that they would have down tools. I know they have down tools at times this season as well, but I just think that if we don't have anyone else to bring in, what's the option? You could go and get someone like Remy Gard and and have a similar situation. I really think it's better the devil than trying to go and grab someone. And I think he will. like he could potentially take us down as well. So I could be wrong, you know. Like it's very much a flip of a coin. If he stays next season, you know, we could be in 18th, 19th, 20th, or we could be, you know, fighting for 13th, 12th, 11th. It's really 50-50. It depends how, because we get 2 Newcastles. We get the one that's played in the last 8 games that want to fight and want to win and want to push forward and throw men into the box and commit. And then we get the Newcastle that goes on a 20-game loss without a win. So, you know.
I'll get the back of that. Sorry,
I'm
Brandon.
not totally convinced, though, that a lot of people like him. Like, if you look at the likes of Mary Longstaff, Sean Longstaff, Matt Finch, Andy Carroll, I can think Elliot is probably not Elliot Anderson is probably not happy with him as well.
Yeah. No.
And there must be a few as well. Like, and then I don't know really. I don't think Kieran Clark is much happy now with Kraft starting ahead of him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but Kieran Clark has been crap for the last 6 weeks. To be fair,
but for how long has he been more than?
No,
these?
I get that.
I mean, like, I think Steve Bruce isn't such a good man manager as he says he is, or people say he is, or like of course the people who start every week they're gonna say, yeah, I love Steve Bruce, and you know, but there's another side of the spectrum as well.
I think he's really let some of the players down this season. I think that, you know, him promising Matty game time and Elliot game time and just not delivering on any of those promises has really let those players down. I don't think has been, and I'm not professing that he's this man manager that, you know, the media like to portray that he is.
But be more straight up, like say to the youngers, like, yeah, you can be around the first team, and sometimes I might use you, but don't give them false promises, you know.
Yeah, like, the way he calls out
it's going to get the morale of the team or the youngsters so low that they're going to look for other teams or to join, and that's how you're going to you're fucking up your youth academy.
Yeah. Oh, by no means do I think he's the answer long term. But I just think that, you know, like I just can't see who's out there to replace him. Like if there was a genuine option, it'd be hard, surely. Like people get paid to do that job, to scout managers. There must be some. They must be looking at some decent managers, surely. But I just think that unless we're hearing things coming out of Newcastle, which doesn't seem to be the case. Normally Newcastle like to run their mouths when something's happening, don't they? Yeah. Very rarely does something happen that none of the fans know about. So if we're not hearing the murmurs, I don't think that anything's going to happen. I think whether I want it or not is irrelevant. I just think that it's just not going to happen for next season. I don't think.
I'm just thinking, like, with sacking Bruce and whoever you may bring in who is available and affordable to pay, it can't be much worse than Steve Bruce because he makes such poor decisions.
Yeah, I agree.
Lately he has been okay, but that's what you expect from a manager, you know, the decision he made lately, and we say, like, okay, he made good changes. It's expected from a manager, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think by no means as well, I know we're on like this little high of doing well the last 7 games. By no means do these 7 games or even 8 games, if we play well next week, define our season at all. What defined our season and what will stick in most Newcastle fans' heads is those 20 games where we went without a win. And so I think ultimately we judge Steve Bruce on that this season. And you know, and he could push for 14th, and we could finish 14th, and of course that would happen, and he'd compare himself to Rafa. That's going to happen, of course. Like, you could see, I knew as soon as we got out of the relegation scrap, I knew we'd go on this run to make him look good till the end of the season, to flip the script of, like, the fans. You know, we've already seen the media again, like, in TalkSport and the rest of the boys trying to say that they were right all along and yada yada, but it could have quite easily gone the other way, and we could have quite easily been relegated.
But don't get me wrong. Go on, Carl.
No, I was just going to say, like, I completely agree with you to a certain extent. Well, I agree with you to a certain extent. It is 100% better the devil you know, and the reason for me in that, like, I want a better manager than Steve Bruce, but at the end of the day, we are safe in the Premier League at the moment. He's not the man to take us forward, but neither is the hierarchy, the rest of the people in the hierarchy. And we've had a manager that wanted to do different things, and because he was different to what the hierarchy wanted, his contract wasn't renewed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, even, like you said, if we were to go and get someone like Remy Gard, at some point he's going to disagree with the board, and it's not going to work anyway. Like, we're always going to be in this going through this revolving door. And look, I'm not saying that I want Steve Bruce to stay, but I absolutely understand where James is coming from 100%.
I don't want him to stay. I just want to make that clear. Like, I just think that
we should give him
this moment in time.
It's better to have him there than try and go and get.
Yeah, like, you don't want to go into a pre-season not having anyone. And I just think that I'd rather that, like, and every time as well we try to move away from a 5 at the back system, it's evident that there are no ideas. As soon as we try and move away from this, like, 5 at the back and the wing backs controlling, there are no ideas throughout the entire team. I just don't understand. And at the start when Steve,
sorry,
bless you, at the start when Steve Bruce came in, he said that he wanted to play 4-4-2, which is one of the most uninspiring formations.
Yeah,
you know, no one plays 4-4-2 anymore. And he said multiple times at the start when he first joined Newcastle that he wanted to play with 2 strikers, and that was the sort of formation he wanted to go with. But I just don't think that is the formation for Newcastle. Like, I can't see us playing that way. I can't see the players playing well that way. And so we have to go. I think if you're going to play attacking football, you have to go to a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1. You know, you have to give those forward players license to do what they do best.
What I just wanted to say for the record still was like I don't want to bash Bruce and with the season getting involved, because I supported Steve for probably the longest of all the NFTV crew. You know, like I always backed him for probably the longest, but like after the season progresses, I saw like all his flaws, and I always tried to stay optimistic, but like,
yeah, you did, to be fair.
It's not going forward, and I would love to see Newcastle forward. That's why I also don't understand why people wanted to see us get relegated for us selling up, blah blah blah. Who guarantee us that we will be sold if we go down? Like, I just want my team to do as good as we can.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game to play. I don't understand the fans that could want us to go down as well. I think that's such a dangerous game when you want to go down, because
it's like Russian roulette.
Yeah, although we did win the championship, there were times where it wasn't easy for us to win that championship. I don't think any Newcastle fan will say that was an easy run to win that championship trophy, and it will be far harder now.
Decided on the final,
Yeah, I think it will be far harder now to even get in the top 2 than it's ever been in the championship. So if you go down, there's a good probability that we don't make it back up. And statistically, we already know that teams don't come back up when they go down. Like, only like 30% come back up.
Look at Sunderland.
The first time of asking. Yeah, so I just think that if you're going to go by the facts and the statistics and all that, then you don't want to go down. It's a horrible spiral to get yourself into.
Absolutely agree, mate. Joe Willock, finally, how much would you pay for him?
Oh, I'll throw the book at him, like 30 mil. If we can get him, if there's even a shred that we can get him, we have to, just because if he has a season like he's done now for us next season, he's worth more. So, because he hasn't really shown in the Premier League so far what he's capable of. We've seen it at Newcastle of I think people are starting to realise how good Joe Willock is as an attacking player, and he never really got that chance at Arsenal for a sustained period of time. So I just think that if Arsenal don't want him, and more for them because they've brought in Odegaard, and Joe Willock's done much better than 100%. Odegaard, but also I don't understand why they'd stick with something that's not working. But if they decide that Joe Willock's not the man for them and they can move him on, then we have to try and get him for 20, 25, 30, whatever they want to sell him for. But I just can't see us. I don't want to be the pessimist, but I just can't, from what I'm hearing as well, doesn't look like we're going to spend any money and we're just trying to get free.
Yeah, that's the worrying thing.
So if we're not going to spend any money, why would we go and try and spend 25? I can't see that.
Gotta look for a new loan deal, probably.
Yeah. I think that's probably
the more goals he scores now. He has to stop score goals because
Yeah, he does. He literally needs to get benched.
5 million per goal, almost.
Yeah. But yeah, I think what Karl said earlier was the smartest thing. If we can try and get a loan with an option, then we really get the best of both, really, because we get to see how the season plays out next season. He's not committed to anything.
I would probably take a loan only without the option, right? But
I think if we can take the loan, then at the moment I'm just trying to live in the moment with Joe Willock and enjoy how he's playing, because it happened to the same when we had like Remy and when we had one and we've just got to try and live in the moment and hope that these players come good.
James, you know what they say: never fall in love with a loanie.
Yeah, I have. I'm head over heels for Joe Willock at the moment. I love it. And he's so young as well. I think that if, like, being English and being that young as well, I just think that if there's any chance that we can get him, he might be the only chance of a Newcastle player putting on an England shirt for us. I think he is that good. So
I think you can make a case for Wilson as well. I mean,
of course.
He had a good season as well, and the lack of flow. How you say it again? I always forget these words. He don't get much balls in the box across
service.
Oh yeah, service.
The service, yeah. He don't get a lot of service, and with the lack of service he gets and the amount of goals he scored, I think he definitely deserved at least in an England call-up, and he could be a good super sub for England squad.
Yeah. Do you not think with Joe Willock as well, being although he's playing in that sort of like number 8 role for us at the moment, but he occupies quite a lot of that right-hand side. Do you not think that we don't really have anyone that can play on that right-hand side? Not definitively. Like, we've tried multiple players there this season, and they've all fallen short. But since Joe Willock's been in that team and has been like sort of occupying some of the space on the right, and like sort of chopping and changing with ASM in the middle and Miggy on the left and stuff like that, that they look so much more dynamic and so much more interchangeable, and we look so much more threatening because all of them can play football, and it's not just like stick someone out on the right like Joe Linton that hasn't really got footballing brain or like or the nous to do things, because Miggy as well sometimes stops the play going forward, like he sometimes breaks up the play going forwards, and I love Miggy, but we can't have 2 or 3 players in the forward line that do that, and ASM's fluid, Wilson's fluid, and Willock seems fluid. So I think the fact that they wouldn't interchange with each other has really helped us this last 8 or 9 games for us.
I might go for an unpopular opinion, but I think we have to sell Almiron really after this season, because he has been average. Yes, he has the work rate, but I think you can have better players who could put the same graft in and bring a little bit more to the table. I don't know, because like people said I was delusional of asking should we sell Almiron and buy Willock, but I think you can make a case for selling Almiron because he's been with us for like now 2 seasons. It's gonna be in his 3rd or almost 4th.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how much did he brought to us? Like, we expected so much more. He didn't.
Yeah.
Like let's face it, he didn't bring out what we expected from him. Okay, that's fair, but he is so off. And yes, he has these small little runs of good games, but it's just 2 or 3 games, and then it all, like Liam always says, it's just he runs a lot, he puts in the graft. I applaud him for that, but besides that, it's.
Yeah, I think that
he's like lightweight as well. His physique is also not there. So, yeah. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I just think that as well, that like, I don't want to be disrespectful to Miggy, but I think that is his level. Like, I think we expected more, but I think, and we probably overpaid for him with 20. What did we pay, 25 or something for Miggy? Yeah, we probably overpaid for him, but I think
20 million. I think actually.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I think that is his level. Is what we're getting out of him now, and I think maybe even last season, did he score 8 last season? He was our highest goal scorer. in not in the Premier League, but in all competitions.
Was Shelvey or
yeah, and no, definitely Miggy was top scorer last season in all competitions. Yeah, Shelvey in the Premier League for sure, but but Miggy in all competitions was our highest goal scorer, and I just think that like I'm a massive Jose Perez fan, and I know every Newcastle fan will hate me right now, but I think for so long we disrespected Jose Perez for getting 8 goals, 10 goals, 12 goals, 11 goals a season, and yeah, and I think for a long time we disrespected Jose, and he is showing early signs of how Jose did when he first came to us, like that Jose wasn't the finished article. And yeah, maybe Miggy's older than him now, or not older than, Perez now, but older than when Perez first came to us. Like he had a bit more time to grow into it, doesn't he? But I just think that maybe a couple more years out of him, he could be scoring 8 and 10 goals. But I don't think he's not going to score 20. He's not going to score 15. I've accepted that is not Miggy. But if he can get 8 to 10 for us, then he's definitely worth having in that team as an attacker. If he's playing number 10, he will get 8 to 10 for us every game. If he's playing in number 10 position,
you don't expect more than 10 goals from a number 10.
Not really.
Playing for Newcastle, I don't know. I don't think we can. I think
that's okay.
Yeah. Maybe if you're playing for Manchester United or playing for City or playing for that, but I just think I'm just being like realistic about our level, and I think if we're going to fight for 13th place and 14th place, then we can't expect me to get 15 goals. It's just not. Maybe that's me, but I just don't think that's going to happen.
No,
I think if he gets 8, I'm happy with his season.
Yeah,
and if he because he grafts as well, like as he said, playing in that 8 position, I don't think or playing as number 10 wherever Steve Bruce is going to play him. I don't think 8 is the position for him. But if he's playing as that number 10 role, I don't think there's a lot of players that are going to press the ball and work harder than him. Like I think he's shown this season, especially when he went out and got injured when we were fighting right in the depths of that relegation scrap. Yeah. We really missed Miggy when he went out injured, when he was first out injured, and then ASM went out behind him, didn't he? And I remember coming on here and saying when Jay was on the show as well that I would take Miggy back over ASM because ASM was out of form and Miggy was really putting a shift in, week out. So yeah, I don't think I'm trying not to judge him over the last few weeks and more judge him for the season. And I think that we've needed him this season and he's put a shift in. But 4 goals isn't good enough. I agree with you. Or has he scored 4 this season? Maybe even less than that.
Yeah, I think it's less.
4.
Yeah, maybe I'm being generous, but but I think that it's not good enough, is it? Really, for the amount of games that he's played. But yeah, I think we saw as well in tonight, especially like why he hasn't scored that many goals when he took that when he should have shot. When he ran past a few players or smashed it near post and he's tried to square it, like that is, that's indicative of how his season has been this season for us.
100%.
Well, I think we all go over all of the big problems of Newcastle United just with James today. But I think there's more people waiting actually.
Yeah.
If you don't mind,
I'll let people get on.
No worries, mate. Good talk.
Yeah, nice to see you both, boys.
Time, James. I'll speak to you soon, mate. Take care.
Yeah, take care, lads.
See you, mate.
Yeah, James is.
I just go to the loo real quick, okay?
Yeah, that's fine, mate. No worries. I'll bring these 2 lads in.
Is that better now?
Yeah, mate. That's much better. Much better.
Okay, that's good. Like I was saying, I just came back from the stadium and the atmosphere was absolutely brilliant, in my opinion.
Was it?
Yeah, I was in between Easter and Gallagher and I heard everything.
Was there much hostility towards Bruce, mate, or?
Like maybe it's at the start of the game, but that was it. I only heard it once. I couldn't be asked to like go over and just give them stick. I know. Yeah. I just wanted to be a fan and just do it for the players and applaud them as well.
No. Fair play to you, mate.
Because I'm sick. I know what Bruce has done this season. He's not good enough for this club, but I just want to see the players do well. I don't want to give Bruce stick at the minute while we are just coming back in. It's only the start of it. That's the only thing.
No, I agree, mate. I agree 100%. What about yourself, Connor? What did you make of today, mate? Or this evening, rather?
Well, first and foremost, it was just fantastic having the TV on and seeing the fans back. I didn't get a chance to hear much of it because I must confess I had them on mute while I was watching you guys, so it was kind of
appreciate that.
But no, listen, just seeing it was incredible, and I did when Joe Willock scored to see the 10,000 there. Cheering it was fantastic, and to be fair, I actually think it helped the Sheffield United goalkeeper having our fans in there bizarrely because I mean that save for John Joe Shelvey was incredible. That's the kind of save that's world class, and he just about broke his ribs doing it. So, but overall, decent result. We probably should have had more than one goal, particularly in the first half, and the dancing feet of Saint-Maximin. I'm sure he was auditioning for Strictly or something. But you've got to just take it all. It's 3 points and at least a drab 0-0 for the fans returning, because with Newcastle you could absolutely have seen that happen.
Yeah, 100%. I'll come to yourself first, Connor, as well. Like, what do you make of James's take on Steve Bruce and giving him a bit more time in terms of, or would you just want him gone ASAP? Do you still have that kind of mindset?
Well, I think given the problem we're going to have is we're playing in a style of football now that's incredibly positive, and we're getting decent results. We're taking the game teams and we're scoring goals. That's the key thing. There's not many matches now where we're not getting 0 goals. And I do worry that if we get rid of Bruce, there isn't a guarantee that he would bring in someone who wouldn't just revert back to the tactics, because it all depends who you get in. And I'm looking at the market out there just now, and I'm not convinced that there's many out there better than Steve Bruce that are certainly free agents, because we know, let's be honest here, Mike Ashley isn't going to go and pay money to a club to take their manager. So I think I would give him a bit more time on that basis, but I think you always have to have one eye on the market and who's coming in, because if we do revert back at the start of next season with whatever the squad looks like, it's going to be another long whole season, as they say. But if we can play like this, then I actually think, and I might be wrong, but I do think he has a chance. Steve, I think he can still win the fans over, if I'm honest with you.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way.
If he plays like this at the start of next season, are you telling me if we got to October, November, December, we're sitting 11th, 10th, and he's playing like this, that wouldn't win over a group of fans? I think it would.
Yeah,
but that's the style of football he's got to play, and he can't use excuses, because he used the excuse of not having the big players, and if they came back we'll be good. Yeah, but he had other players he didn't use that could have changed it up at the time, like the Matty Longstaff situation where he didn't get a sniff in even when we're playing atrociously bad. So yeah, I think I'd give him a chance. Not make them popular, I'm sure.
No, mate, we're all going to get it. I know I'll get it, because, we're going to look fickle at the end of the day, but we give him credit where it's due, and we'll bash him when it's kind of deserved.
Yeah.
A lot of people say we don't hate the bloke. We don't have a personal hatred for the man. We don't know him. Do you know what I mean? That I'm sure, like James said, that there's got to be some truth in it when enough people are saying that he's a likable guy, which I'm sure he probably is. But I agree, he's not portrayed himself very well in certain press conferences. He's got ratty, he's bit at things that he shouldn't have, but we're all human at the end of the day. And I'm not saying that I want Steve Bruce as the manager of this football club for the future, but I agree with what you and what James has said. I agree 100%. I think I'm enjoying this style of football. I really am. And at the end of the day, like James said previously, it could have gone the complete opposite way, and it hasn't. He said he wasn't worried. He said he was going to keep us up, and he has. He has. Look, don't get me wrong. The majority of the season was crap. We shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, but we were. And to a certain extent, he's rectified that. So I'm of the same. There's no one else out there, realistically. What about yourself, James?
I'm just saying, I don't think I think the fact he managed Sunderland probably hasn't helped him in the eyes of a lot of fans as well. I wonder if another manager who hadn't previously managed Sunderland, while was claiming to be a Newcastle fan, might not quite have got the type of hard time he's had. Because to be fair, since day one, since Benitez left, nobody wanted him, and that wasn't his fault that Rafa Benitez left, to be fair. But he did get a lot of stick for that as well.
True. What about yourself, James? Do you feel the same way, or do you still want him gone? Or
I want him gone. I want to protest for him, but I didn't want to do it today because I knew today wasn't the right day to do it, because I just want to see our team get out there, play a game of football, and support the club.
Yeah.
Because I know every fan might agree with us. We should have, but it's too early for me, and maybe I would wait for like a full house of St James's Park to do that.
I agree. It's just, again, like Connor said, if we're getting these results, you can't bash the bloke, can you? If we're winning, if we're getting points up against what we did against Manchester City last week, if that happened throughout the majority of the season, I wouldn't give a shit. As long as we're going out and playing that, playing with that positivity, I'm absolutely fine with that. We've always said that. That's all we've ever wanted as fans.
We just want to see positivity in our club and just see a good game of football out there and just attack. I don't care what the result is or whatever. Just want to see attacking football.
To a certain extent, though. To a certain extent. But, we can't lose every game, but, if I see the lads go out and try and try to score a goal, I think we mentioned that for a lot of times, actually. And as well, you, Karl, that I don't care if the guys go out, give it a good try, even if it's the bigger clubs and we're not the favourites, as long as they try. But sometimes in the season, mid-season probably it was, that we just try to sit back, don't concede, and hopefully score on a counter or a lucky VAR moment. But
absolutely,
I think you just have to look at it. And, we all know that the media quite often likes to have a go at us as a fan base, for one reason or another, because they think we're all entitled and want more than we actually are capable of getting, which is absolute nonsense. Because tell me any club who goes into the Premier League who wants to just be staying up, unless it's like Barnsley or something, if they manage to get up, for example. Of course we want to be trying to get into the top 10. We've done it in the past. So if, and we've always said as a fan base, we want to play good football. If we lose, but before the goal, we're playing good football, that's the most important thing. So if we're playing good football and we're still protesting for the manager to be sacked, we do then kind of make ourselves look a bit daft and give the media all that ammunition to say, well, you've just proven us right, because the guy's playing good football and you're still asking for him to be sacked. And to be fair, see what you like about Mike Ashley, there isn't a chairman going to sack a manager who's in good form with the squad, no matter what club they're at. So, there's a bit of that. That doesn't make me the chairman and CEO of the Steve Bruce fan club, by the way, because I'm not. But it's still, we have to be mindful of these things as well.
That's it. That is it. The word mindful is nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. Because I agree. That's what stresses. Not stress. That's what will irritate me, is that there will, and to a certain extent I understand it, be a large proportion of a fan base that would still be would essentially be proving the pundits right, just because of dislike for him, and we can't be like that as a fan base. We can't be, especially if we want to be taken seriously. But I'll come to you both very quickly, because we are just running slightly overdue. James, how much would you sign Joe Willock for?
Well, for 1 minute, I'm just saying I don't want to loan him again, because if we loan him again, the price is just going to go up and up and up, and I don't want that. I want the price to just keep at least around 20-25 million. So that's how much I would sign him for, really.
And yourself, Connor?
Well, he's the most informed Arsenal player right now, and he's in a Newcastle shirt, so that's pretty much all you need to know. I personally would easily £20 million. The question obviously is, whether Mike Ashley will spend that or not with the whole arbitration thing. Obviously, we heard today about June 11th is when the Premier League need to respond and that nonsense. So I'm not convinced we'd spend it, which might mean another loan move. I would only be up for that though if it was with a buy option in there. That I would be happy with if we went right. There's a buy option, or if we are going to maybe well, we know. I hate saying it because I love him, but we know the likes of Matty Longstaff has garnered that kind of attraction. So if you could use him potentially as part of a deal to bring him out, I'd do that as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only problem though with Ashley. He's just a money grabbing cunt.
I've got a suspicion that might get clipped and used quite a bit, to be fair. Oh dear me! Right, boys, been an absolute pleasure.
You watched too much NFTV actually. We thought it too well.
Oh, we tried to stop Matt swearing earlier, but yeah, it didn't work. But yeah, really appreciate you both coming on, lads. Brilliant to have the fans back in the ground, and we'll see you on Sunday for the Fulham game. Take it easy, gents. Bye bye. Right then, mate. That brings us to a close for the fan reaction show. But yeah, it was a positive result again. It's a couple of people have come out and controversial maybe in terms of saying that they would give Steve Bruce a bit of extra time, which I do understand as well. Yes, we are probably going to get some stick for being fickle, but it's hard to argue against someone that has managed to get the team to produce results. Do the players deserve credit for it? 100%. Have you got to give Steve Bruce credit as well? Yes, because if you're not, for me, it's almost just becoming a personal vendetta. But I don't want him at the helm. I want better for the club, 100%. But right now, I don't think there is, a nailed-on better option. What about yourself, Brandon?
Yeah, it does make sense to sack him now. I actually agree what Andrew said.
Difficult one, isn't it? We don't want him there, but you don't want the club to suffer at the...
It also depends. Do we get taken over? Yes,
yeah.
No. Then you can look for another manager. If we don't get taken over, maybe we have to stick with Bruce. How crazy it might be. Yeah, much more worries to cover for next future videos, I think.
100%. Ever the pinnacle of being a Newcastle fan is screaming for 20 weeks to have a manager sacked, and then when it comes to the end of the season, you're like, oh no, just keep him as manager. But that's what we are, up and down, drama as always.
I just want to say, for the people who waited in the waiting room and didn't get on, we tried to get as many people on. In the first moments, it wasn't that busy, so that's why we had one person on. Try again next week again, or this weekend actually already. But thank you for waiting at least. You're much appreciated.
Absolutely. If you haven't already, or you don't know already, Lee has already uploaded the matchday vlog, and there's some highlights on there. I believe the goals on there as well. It looked absolutely fantastic from what I saw. So get yourself over to watch the matchday vlog. I believe Lee will be doing the last word. I could be wrong, but we've got more content, matchday content on the channel. If you haven't already, please drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. It's been your boy Karl and your boy Brandon. We will see you on Sunday for the Fulham game. Take care, everyone. Martin, I've just seen you in the chat. We're ending right now, mate. Really good to see you back in the chat. Hope you're well, buddy. We'll speak to you in the Discord or something like that. Legend. Take it easy, guys.